Welcome to the podcast, Stop Crying Poser, greatest podcast known to man as voted by shrimp, octopus, squids, ceviche, that delicious treat, lemonade. Shout out to We Got, Node for Droid, We Are Sad, Paul Miranda, Day Day, Oh Jeezy, Guy Just, Kickflip Back, Nose Blunt, D, Trick, WP, Gutta, Day Day, Node, Paul, Oh Jeezy, We Are Sad. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I think this is our 351st episode. I did the math. That means we've been doing this podcast for 6.7 years. So happy 6.7 year anniversary. It's been a very busy week for me making music. Maybe you guys didn't know I am a registered rapper. I'm on the rapping offensive list. My yearly video part came out today. In fact, it only came out about 5 or 6 hours ago, where I do some skateboarding, and I also did some singing and some rapping, which, if you guys aren't familiar, that might sound funny or silly, but the reason I first ever got noticed in skateboarding is because I made a skateboarding video where instead of just playing like Motley Crue as the background music, I got a Lupe Fiasco like beat or something. I think it was Lupe Fiasco sampling something else. But I took the beat, and instead of just having some boring skate music, I explained what tricks I was doing while making it rhyme. So I do a board slide, and I go, board slide, yay. I do a nollie flip, and I say, nollie flip into the ramp. Your mom's a tramp. You know, something like that. So I didn't base the whole song off your mom, but you could imagine if I did. So the video came out today. I'm very proud of it. I worked really hard on it. I took a whole day off streaming this week to try and get it done, to try and get it sounding decent. I don't know much about recording audio. You know, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about with video editing, but I did what I could. I put a lot of effort into it. And I think it's the perfect amount of being silly while also being catchy. It will get stuck in your head. And the skateboarding tricks, although I'm not in my prime, I think the skateboarding tricks are all landed pretty cleanly. So I'm pretty hyped on my video part. If you haven't checked it out, check it out today on my YouTube channel, Ninja Lifestyle. You can also check out ninjalifestyle.com. Another thing I wanted to tell you guys about is that we also have Ninja Lifestyle merch. We always had, but we have a new hoodie out called the Violation hoodie. And if you guys haven't seen that, you can check out any of my YouTube videos. And just below the description is some awesome Ninja Lifestyle merch. If you want to support, maybe get it for some small kid that lives in your neighborhood that you see him skateboarding every once in a while, and he's always dragging his toe when he does pressure flips. You can hand him that t-shirt and say, hey kid, you won't suck forever, and then hand him the shirt. And then tell him that'll be $19.99, you dumb bitch. So a couple of roadblocks in this music video. I'm going to call it a music video because it kind of seems like one. There was a nollie back heel, nollie heel flip 180 skateboarding trick that I did earlier this year. And when I landed it, my toes were slightly hanging off the skateboard. And although they weren't dragging on the ground, not a complete violation, I just kept looking at that clip and saying, ooh, that's ugly. So I decided, you know what? Since I can do the trick multiple times because I'm not some new generation shitty asshole bitch skateboarder, I know I can do the trick again. So I went to an even harder spot to land my nollie back heel on a bank. I landed about 7 or 8 of them, and it came down to my top 2. I landed one nollie back heel where I pivoted and then kind of lost speed on the way down. Then I landed another nollie back heel where it didn't pop very much, and it just kind of flopped around. But I landed perfectly bolts and rolled down with nothing but control. I put a vote on Instagram, and usually when it comes to the cleanliness of a skateboarding trick, me and my viewers and my friends and my followers and supporters, we usually agree on which trick is the best. But after the vote, 70% of you guys said I was wrong and that my first nollie back heel was better. And I had to veto you guys. I took the second one just because it seemed more smooth. But a breakdown of that video will come out on Friday. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I am saying I think one is going to fit better with the video, and it being faster makes the trick look more controlled. Of course, one did pop higher, one did get caught better, one did not overflip, but also I have a small range where that clip will fit in the music video, in my skateboarding video part. So I had to pick the one that moves faster, and I think it looks better anyways, but we'll break that down next week. I'm very excited, just kind of riding the high of the video part. Also, last night had a mini breakdown. I got off my stream about 12:30, and I was putting the finishing touches on this video part to be uploaded today at 9 a.m. And the volume, I didn't realize this. We did a premiere on my Twitch channel last night. By the way, we do this podcast every single Friday, right around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. I don't think I said that earlier, even though it's been, 7 minutes into the podcast. I'm blowing it. Anyways, the music, when it got to YouTube, was way too quiet. It was almost 50% of the volume of a regular YouTube video. So I went back in my computer, I upped the volume by 5 decibels, re-uploaded it, nothing. Upped it by 10, nothing. Couldn't figure out the problem. Went in there, downloaded DaVinci Resolve, exported it in there, upped the volume in there, and all I did was really badly peak. I peaked all of my audio so it sounded really scratchy. Then I was like, dude, I'm out of ideas. And I said, you know what? What if, and this is why I'm a genius, I said, what if the volume is too loud and once it gets to YouTube, YouTube is compressing it? And I also saw that in some of the articles. They were saying YouTube compresses audio a lot. I wonder what's going on there. So I looked at it. I dropped the volume by 7 decibels, re-uploaded it, and then on YouTube it was double the volume. So I took the volume way down, and then when it got to YouTube, the volume went way up. So them compressing audio that peaks was really annoying, and I had a little mini panic attack. I'm like, dude, it's 1 in the morning. This video comes out soon, and I'm looking in the mirror. I'm just like, fuck it. If I got to work on this shit all night, not that it's like the biggest video of the year, but I figure I already worked so hard on it. I probably I put a whole year of skateboarding effort into this. Then I put 2 hours into placing clips. Then I put another hour into lining up clips. Then I put another 2 hours into singing. You know how hard it is to go, don't make a violation. La, 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 la. You know how hard it is to do that? Like 50 times back to back because one part of the rhythm was off. I was losing my voice. I'm like, dude, this is awful. Oh, man. I'm very happy and proud of the final result, and I hope that you guys find some time to check it out. What else has been going on? Well, birria. I made birria tacos a couple of days ago. It was very easy. I took a cheap-ass cut of meat, some chuck roast, although it said chuck roast pectoral, whatever that means. It was 1.5 pounds of beef for only like $9. So took that, seared it on the outside, threw it in the crock pot, forgot about it for a few hours, came home, I bought all these dried peppers. Fitnoid came over, brought 2 fresh peppers. So I take these dried peppers, put them in there. They were the pasilla pepper, and then there was another one, a big long red dry one, and then some chili de árbol. Put that in there, took all the seeds out, toasted them, toasted all those. Then I toasted the fresh peppers. Then we had garlic. We put 5 garlic cloves, and then we toasted the dry peppers, boiled the dry peppers after deseeding, then blended them up with the pepper liquid, and then I have like a pepper mash. And then I took that the pepper mash and I smushed it through like a, what would you call that? Like a strainer, like a sieve, really thin metal mesh, pushed it all through so we get this like you've had 3 2-11s and then the next day I got that perfect poop consistency. Then I threw that on top of the chuck roast, which was in the crock pot with only a little bit of chicken stock. Threw in that peppers that thickened up like the au jus. I mean, you would call it a consomme, but it's like the au jus thickened up. And then we didn't get to cook it long enough for it to actually tear apart. So we chopped it into little pieces, smashed it. Fitnoid had this idea to put the cheese on top, right? We have these little tortillas. Tortilla, put the pepper jack on top, right? Once it melts, turn that bitch upside down. Now the cheese is on the bottom. Oh, shit. Now the cheese is on the bottom. Oh, shit. So the cheese got crispy. Then on top, you put a little bit of consomme. You put the birria, which is now pulled into small smash pieces. Put that on there. Boom. A little more pepper jack. Boom. Then you can kind of fold it at this point. Fold it. The outside's crispy and it turned red from the red dried peppers. So it turns red, but it's also kind of yellow and crispy from the cheese, getting all crunchy. Then you drop in onion, cilantro, lime, and then you come. That's when the coming begins. And trust me, it don't stop because I had 1.5 pounds of food. And then you add in those peppers, you end up with what seems like more food than you actually have. So it was great. Man, the food was great. It didn't seem that fatty. There was no added fat. There was no oil or butter or anything like that. Just the oils that pushed out from the peppers and then the fat that was already in the chuck roast, which was a pretty fair amount. So what I was saying was it was really heavy. I only ate about 4 or 5 of these tiny tacos, but they filled you up really quickly, which left room for leftovers. The leftovers ended up maybe even being better than the initial food. So my very first leftover meal was eggs. I had some leftover mushrooms, got the mushrooms going, got some onions going, put an egg in there, put a tortilla on top of the egg. And then on the top of the tortilla, I put some birria sauce and a couple of pieces of beef. And then I capped the top of my little frying pan and turned the heat off. Everything got hot. So it kind of became like a lazy, weird, shitty chilaquile. And that was great. That was the first meal. The second meal, I just added some rice, put the birria on top of that. That was the whole thing. Just rice and some beef and some like spicy pepper sauce. Put that on there. Boom, ate the rice. That was great. The third and final, no, not the final. The third leftover meal was the cup of ramen. We put the cup of ramen, put the birria on top of that, a little bit of cilantro, onion, a little squeeze of lemon or lime on top. Get the cup of ramen going. You eat all the noodles, and then you have the best part, which some people don't drink that part. What's wrong with you guys? That's the best part of the whole meal. Maybe you guys just don't like slurping. Maybe you guys just want to disrespect all of Asia by not slurping. Listen, they've been through a lot. They've earned your respect. Anyways, the ramen was great. That was my late night snack. And I even had just enough today to redo the egg dish that I just talked about. So that was my breakfast today. And I think you guys should all consider watching a birria recipe on YouTube or Instagram or something like that. Because for me, it was very messy, but I had to use food processor. If I had an actual decent blender, it would have been a lot easier to do and better. And then also pushing the sauce through the mesh was time consuming and annoying. But I have a new technique. I talked to my buddy Ward. He came up with a better way to do this. So next time when I make this food, which will probably be in about a week, maybe I'll make this food maybe next Friday, so we'll have leftovers for the UFC. We're rooting for Jiri, by the way. I know that's not how you say his name, but that's how I say it, bitch. So I might make it next week because it's very cheap, and if I can figure out a way to do it without making such a mess, because also all the oils that come out of those peppers, they stain everything. So if it gets on your cutting board, you have to wash your cutting board twice as long, which is not a big deal, but you know, you have to wash it 2, 3, 4 times during the process. I also didn't mention at the bottom of the chuck roast, I just covered about half of it with chicken stock. So if you guys want to steal my recipe, feel free. Really easy to do. Blend up the peppers. Also blended up some garlic and a little bit, like a third of a big yellow onion. Everything came out great, dude. It was great. 10 out of 10 food, and the price was right there. So the entire meal probably had about 5 servings, and the whole meal was about $15. So 15 divided by 5? So what is that, $3 a serving? It might actually even be cheaper than that. I might be doing the math wrong. That doesn't sound right. $3 a serving. So the whole meal was about $15, and it would feed about 5 people. Okay, yeah. So yeah, $3 a serving. Pretty good deal. So you can feed a family for $15. Anyways, pretty proud of that. You know, we do a lot of cooking on stream and off stream, and sometimes making something new kind of becomes like a 50-50. You know, there's a 50% chance that maybe it'll work. Maybe we'll burn it and ruin it. But it worked out great. Crock-pot, too, makes everything easier. I'm sure you can do it in like a Dutch oven, but I got the crock-pot. I got a crock-pot that was made in 1911. It is the oldest crock-pot known to man, but that motherfucker works, and it's easy to clean. So I like it. New crock-pots, I don't know. Although having one of those, is it called the Ninja pot? I can't think of what it's called. They have one now it can be a crock pot, but it can also be a pressure cooker. If I ever want one of those, though, I'll get one from the secondhand store, like the Salvation Army or Savers or whatever, or Goodwill, because they always have pressure cookers over there. Although, do you want to have a used pressure cooker? What if it has like a dent or doesn't seal correctly? Can't they explode? Isn't that what Timothy McVeigh did? I don't know. You guys can let me know in a comment. What else happened? Well, California is on fire. The whole damn state is on fire. No, I guess I keep reading about these fires. I haven't seen any smoke because I guess the wind is blowing the other way, but it looks really devastating, and it looks like it came from out of nowhere. There's a lot of interesting conspiracies, and it's burning a lot of rich areas, which I think people are also comparing that to the Maui fires, about like beachfront property getting burned so then it can get rebought by the Hollywood elite. Is that true? I don't fucking know, man. I also keep reading a lot about the blue roofs. Like, oh, if you paint your roof blue, your house won't catch on fire. But what about your neighbor's house that is completely engulfed? It's going to then throw embers onto your house. Your house will catch fire. There seems to be a lot of people who may have not done their job correctly to not have anything in place to prepare for these devastating fires. So there's definitely more questions than answers. I also wanted to mention that I'm seeing a lot of really cringy clickbait thumbnails on YouTube from the news people, you know, the people that do the live broadcast, the vloggers, you know, anyone who's in California, which is kind of the hub for a lot of social media anyways. And I don't know if I feel like that's off limits. There's a lot of like people using AI to make flaming photos, backgrounds to make the California fires look worse. And I don't know if I support that. Like, is that in bad taste, or am I overthinking it? I feel like trying to make $1 off of these fires is kind of lame, but also, if you live your life as a vlogger and half of your state caught fire, why wouldn't you mention it? So I guess I haven't really made up my mind yet. But seeing all of these, like, you know, it really is clickbait. Seeing people clickbait just for them to give their opinion on the fire, they're not really offering any news. They're not offering any real coverage. They're not in the fire. Their house is not on fire. And I just see that. It might just be my algorithm is fucked, because I do be trying to look at the conspiracy stuff. So I get a lot of fire related shit. But I feel like if you're becoming way too clickbait just based on everyone else's suffering, I don't know if that's a good way to be. I also noticed, of course, on Twitter, there's a lot of people saying like, oh, why should I care? A bunch of rich fat cats in their $1 million homes got burnt. Ha! Serves them right for being successful at their job. Like, I guess that's not really the way they would say it. I was kind of being sarcastic at the end there. But, listen, if a bad thing happens to a person, I think we could just look at it like, hey, a bad thing happened to a person. We don't have to then say, well, if a bad thing happened to a person and they're rich, it's no longer a bad thing. I don't really like that mindset, you know what I mean? Because these people are still suffering. They still lost their homes, their memories, their dogs. I think last time I checked, 7 people had died. So people's family members are dying, probably elderly people that couldn't get out in time, or people that get stuck in traffic, So for people to go like, oh, it's only affecting the rich neighborhoods, who cares? And you're like, what do you mean? Like, it's a terrible thing that's happening. Like, these people didn't ask for their houses to burn. Also, they have all this money, which even goes to show how even much more helpless they are, because you can still be a millionaire and there's nothing you can buy that would just protect your house from fire. So it's even more reason to see the helplessness. Also, let's not forget, it's not just rich people. A lot of regular sized homes were getting fucked over there too. So very sad thing. I'm not usually like the most empathetic guy. I don't care. None of that affects me. Just kind of being devil's advocate, or maybe even like voice of reason right now, that it seems like it's just a really fucked up situation. So hopefully it works out, but I'm sure it won't. I also been reading the conspiracies about water pressure and the conspiracies about fire insurance being cut off 6 months prior. Is that all true? I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me in a comment below. But before we do that, would you guys like to win a free Ninja Lifestyle sticker pack sent directly to your home if you live in America? Well, all you have to do is answer this trivia question correctly in the chat, and you will go home with some Ninja Lifestyle stickers. The question is this: how many hearts, like your heartbeat, how many hearts are inside a squid? How many hearts does a squid have? Why do they have so many hearts? I don't know. The first person to answer how many hearts a squid has gets a free Ninja Lifestyle sticker pack. D-Trick says 4. Fitnoid says 3. Node for Droid says 1. Day says 3. Paul Miranda says 2. Fitnoid is the winner, but you are disqualified because I can just hand you the stickers since you live in Las Vegas. Day was the second one to get it right. Day's also disqualified because he wins 3 times a month. Everyone else is wrong. The real Griff, you're the first person to answer this that has never won trivia before, or maybe you have. Feel free to send me your address in a DM after the podcast, and I'll get those out to you on Monday. Although I think Dietrich won last week, and I haven't gotten his stickers to him. So every time I say I'm going to send these stickers, and it's only going to take a couple days, sometimes that ends up being a couple weeks. So yeah, Griff, you are the winner. Next topic. What do we have here? I was reading the other day, I think either on Facebook or on Twitter, to where I get all my information, about robots that you can buy online. Like, let's say you own a business for tacos. You own a taco shop inside, I don't know, the mall, and you cook tacos every day. And you get some pretty good foot traffic, but you want a little bit more. So you can pay money. Obviously, you can pay money for people to come in and review your business and give you 5 stars on Yelp and Google reviews. We all knew that existed. But you can pay these people. You can pay a business to create bots that will go on dating apps like Tinder and whatever the other dating apps are. I'm sure there's got to be dozens, right? and it will go on there, and it'll make their profile picture a hot chick, and it will swipe right on all the dudes, and then the robot will start making dates with a bunch of dudes, saying, oh yeah, I'd love to go on a date with you. And then the robot will make you go to the taco shop, and then this guy will think he's going on a date with a hot girl, shows up to the taco shop, and then the date will then flake on him. Will say, hey, I can't make it, but enjoy the food or something. And then the guy now has no date. He showed up hungry. He's now going to eat the food, and the business paid for that. And I guess their reasoning probably is that if that guy shows up, tries the food, enjoys the food, then he'll start showing up there more often. And you also think about it on a deeper plane. They can do this based on how far the restaurant is from each person's house. So if you can drag everybody into a taco shop that's within a mile and a half of that place for like a fake date, it's that's the future. You know, this misinformation is the future. I think it's kind of rude, but I also think, is it really that rude? Because it's probably not just happening to chicks, right? You don't just want your taco stand to be a cock fest. So they're probably also swindling women into showing up. And also, since it's Tinder, what if the AI, breakthrough. What if the AI targets fat people who already have the word taco in their profile? Oh shit. What if it's targeted like that? You know they're fat. You already know that they like tacos, and you can zone in on their profile, swipe right on them, get them to go have tacos. Holy shit. You know where I think it would start to fall apart is the employees would start saying, man, there's a lot of dates flaking this week in this taco shop. There's a lot of people getting some lonely ass carne asada. A lot of lonely carne asada happening this week. What's going on? Hey, management. Hey, management. Why is everyone look so lonely in here today? Why did everyone order a lonely taco? So, just interesting thing to think about, just because that's just one thing that AI can do for like small businesses. And it seems like that's sort of going to be like a little bit taboo, right? Like you don't really want to support that shit, but also like if that company wasn't offering that service, someone else would. So just something interesting. We can look into it more. Maybe we'll check that out on one of our regular streams. Something I forgot to mention last week, it was on my list of things to talk about, but I forgot to talk about it, was that we were streaming here on Twitch. I stream on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays, and then sometimes other days. We stream here on Twitch where we just watch cooking shows, we watch skateboarding, we hang out, we play games, we play interactive games like Cards Against Humanity. Sometimes we listen to mean voicemails, play Dance Dance Revolution. We play GoldenEye 007, Mario 64. If you're not following me on Twitch, if you're listening to this on YouTube, check out the Twitch. Last week, as we were streaming on Twitch, I started hearing a bunch of police sirens, and a helicopter started circling the house, which doesn't happen that often, but it's also not uncommon. Probably something that happens twice a week. Not so much the sirens being so close, but the helicopter circling, because I'm located right next to a pretty ghetto area. I'm not in the super ghetto, but I'm right next to it. I'm adjacent to the ghetto. So when the helicopter does a circle around the ghetto, they kind of go over my area. Anyways, I'm saying like, oh man, all these sirens, the helicopter, and then I'm saying on stream, this is all happening live. Half of you guys in the chat room now were probably there for that broadcast. I start saying, oh, damn, they're shining a light on my backyard. And I go out in the backyard, I look up, I go, oh, they're shining a light right there on the street next to mine. And as I'm saying all this, one of the viewers named Love My Toe brings up a live police chase video of a murder suspect. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, like it's in this neighborhood. Like that neighborhood's not that close. Then they say he's running. And then they say the name of a street that's right next to my street. Like I could throw a baseball to where this street is. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I'm watching the live broadcast and I'm looking outside. I can see it unfolding with the helicopter circling around. And then they catch the guy. The chase is over. They catch him on foot. He ran over a mile. Very impressive. This guy runs over a mile. They catch him right next to my house. Like, let's say like 12 houses away. They catch this guy. And we're like, oh, shit, that was gnarly. Like, it got so serious, I even locked the back door. I was like, you know what? Even though I got guns, I'm not going to go put myself in this situation. Because what if this guy jumps the fence, and then a cop jumps the fence, and the cop loses sight of that guy, and then sees me, tackles me, shoots me, and then this guy gets away. Anyways, yeah, the way it unfolded was great. You know, we're like, oh, what are all those sirens? Oh, what is this helicopter? You can hear it through my microphone. Then the light's shining. And then my security camera keeps going off because the helicopter keeps shining my house, and then the live broadcast happens. What are the odds all those things would happen all back to back to back to back to back? And then we find out early the next morning that it was a kid, like a 15-year-old kid, who had just shot his dad and murdered him. So the odds of that all happening back to back, pretty funny. Something else horrible happened the other day. I watched a video of somebody leaving a pot on the stove all night with like, I don't know, some leftovers in it. And I was like, oh man, whoever does that must be a fucking idiot. So then I go to make my like ramen or whatever I was making. I think I made like a little pasta in a pot. And of course, after seeing someone do that online and saying, what an idiot, I fucking did it. I left my pot on warm, which is like the lowest setting. I left it on low, like warm, which is even lower than low. It's electric, not gas. So I didn't have to worry about like gas bill going up, but I have my electric bill going up. Anyways, I come back to this pot. The bottom of it's completely black, crusted on, cake, impossible to remove bullshit. But what are the odds of that? Speaking of things that are unlikely to happen, I watch a video of someone doing something stupid. I say, man, that guy is stupid. And then less than 12 hours later, I do that thing. It's like trying to avoid like a car accident, and you look at the car accident and you just can't help but crash into the car accident. I don't know if that's the right metaphor. How did I do that? Obviously, this was caused by weed. That was the whole thing. And then I had to watch a video on how to get this goddamn pot clean because the shit was caked on so hard. Anyways, dumb story. They caught a murderer on my stream. I helped. I was involved in some way. Basically, I am a superhero, and all of my neighbors are happy to have me. They baked me a bunch of pies because I saved the day. Is that something that happens? You know, like when your neighbor moves in. Remember in these old movies? Oh, hi, neighbor. I baked you a pie. I baked you some cookies. No one ever gives me any cookies. The people across the street used to. But I don't like the way they made their cookies, man. I'm more of a basic bitch when it comes to cookies. Give me the chocolate chip ones. If you want to throw like a nut in there, you know, maybe. Well, whoa. I'm talking about like an almond. You start throwing almonds into the chocolate chip cookies, I'm good with that. Okay? You start making the cookies green, and they have little balls on top of them, little crackly little balls on everything. You start making green with red stripes and crisscrossing peanut butter into it with the fork crisscross. Listen, make it sweet, chocolatey, and maybe a little bit of crunch, but soft on the inside. That's all. You start adding too much bullshit. The cookie's too shiny. You ever have someone hand you a cookie you can see your reflection in, and you're like, why the fuck is it so shiny? It's not. I want a cookie to look the way it looks in like a cartoon. Just chocolate chip cookie. Double chunk, chocolate chunk, whatever the fuck that fat fuck says. Make it like that. Make it like the one that weird shaped buff guy always eats. A little Rizzler fucking friend. That's all I got for topics today. Squid Games. I watched the second season of Squid Games. It didn't give me much closure. Just in case some of you guys are watching it, I'm not going to spoil it. I am okay with it. Everyone I've spoken to about Squid Games said they were disappointed in how the season ended. I kind of don't like the cliffhanger because the situation is when you watch a season of something, there should be a start and a finish. And then maybe a cliffhanger for season 2, like a new era, a new beginning. In in Squid Games Season 2, it's kind of like Squid Games Season 2 Part 1. You know what I mean? Because the Season 2, everything that's happening in this storyline, it's only halfway done. So I don't like that I hope that they don't have a Season 3. I'm hoping that they have Season 2.5. Otherwise, we're just using the word season for no reason. Oh, damn. He made a rhyme. This guy raps his own video parts. This guy fucks. I also started the series Dexter, which is about a guy that commits murders, but he also works for the police. It was very popular several years ago. I think it has like 8 seasons or maybe 10 seasons. I don't know if I'm going to continue it. I think I'll probably watch Season 1 and Season 2. If you guys... Listen, if any of you guys have watched Dexter all the way through, let me know in a comment or in the chat room if it's worth binging. I'm watching about I'm watching about 5 episodes a week, and I'm enjoying it, but I thought it would be more deep, right? I thought it was going to be more deep like Breaking Bad, where kind of every episode is something serious. And there's a lot of like comedy, and there's a lot of like daytime TV vibes, like Law and Order vibes, where they're like stupid one-liners, like a body gets found frozen, and they're like, "Oh, this guy, this guy's out cold." You're like, okay, we really had to add the out cold. I just made that one up right now. You know, like, we really had to add the, looks like this guy's out cold. Bag him up. I don't like the weird, like, goofy dialogue. I kind of wish, I know that this is not going to be how police work actually works and forensics. I know I have to suspend my disbelief, but I also know that I want it to be a little bit realistic. I said the same thing about Squid Games. There's a lot of people firing guns indoors with no ear protection and at high rates of speed, and no one goes, ow, my ears. So a little bit weirded out by that. Anyways, Dexter, so far I'm enjoying it. I wish it was a little more serious and less like comic relief. But it's okay. It gives me Law and Order vibes. You know, there's always like one guy that kind of makes a joke in the middle. So it's all right. Anyways, that's all I have for the podcast. I hope you guys are having a great new year. How many days are we into the new year? It's the 10th today, Friday, January 10th. So New Year's resolutions, I hope, are going well. I was able to skateboard already this year. Felt good to get out there because I was really beat up after Christmas and New Year's and all my friends having like weeks off of work, and everyone wants to hang out because they know that I'm the guy to call if you want to go have a beer. So it was like every day, like having a beer with this guy, have a beer with this guy. I even was gambling more than I usually do. I try to gamble about $30 a week or less if possible. But I ended up last week, I gambled like 50, which is it's not going to break the bank, but just little things. It's nice to get back to normal. I was also eating really unhealthy. So this whole week I've been eating salads. The birria is not that bad. At least it's not super processed food. So far my year is going pretty good, and I hope your year is going good as well. Can I get a hell yeah in the chat room from everybody that made it through the podcast? If you tuned in late, don't worry. The repeat of this podcast comes out on Podbean, on iTunes, on Spotify, everywhere where podcasts can be found, as well as on YouTube. Also, check out my new merch. Also, check out my new skateboarding video part, which we will watch right when this live broadcast ends. I invite you guys to watch this podcast live every single Friday, right around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, because we do a pre-show and a post-show. So there's more that happens here on Twitch than you guys may know about. Shout out to D-Trick, Love My Toe, Gyges, Paul Miranda, Day, Paul Miranda, Love My Toe. Looks like we may have lost a few viewers because I am boring, I guess. I don't think so. I think this was a great podcast. I also got to figure out how to get on those podcast networks. This is our 350th plus podcast, and I make $0 off this. We got to find a way to turn this into money somehow. Also, go buy merch. Also, send money. Also, if you don't have money, then tell a friend about the podcast. Extra special thank you to D-Trick, who just right now, this very moment, donated $5. So you know what? First beer of the night is on you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Tell a friend about the podcast. Tell your friends so that we can grow. This podcast has been pretty consistent, right? Since the beginning. We have about the same amount of viewers, same amount of downloads. Everything's about the same every time. But maybe one day things will change. I just need my big break, which it could happen this year. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. As I always say, don't drink too much, but don't drink too little. Also, everyone look up a birria recipe and make it for your friends and family because it's cheap and they deserve it.